like a month and a half ago, just curious to know, how many of you was in the 1 hour training I did a month and a half ago? Okay, I have 4 different trainings I do. So I think there were 3 people that raised their hand. So we're going to do training number 1 again. Good. And well, one of the reasons I want to do that, I've been spending some time in Houston, was at the Katy meeting Tuesday night. I'm talking about never seen it rain so hard in my life as it did on Diamond Eye all the way to Houston. And that always affects your crowd. But it's 7:30 and there's no first-time guests. So we get our heads together, decide to do a training instead. And about 1 minute after I'm into this training I'm going to show you, a bunch of guests starts coming in. So I'm already into the training, so what do? You go ahead and train. And amazingly, at the end of the training, first-time guest has not seen what Antoine just showed you. You understand? 5 of them. I'm talking about fill the paperwork out in the room for the sponsor to go home and put in. So you can call what I'm about to show you a checkup from the neck up. Now, Antoine just told you all you need to understand, ever understand, about the pay plan. I've been fortunate and blessed in this industry. 3 companies have paid me $1 million a year each. So I've made millions and millions and millions of dollars doing network marketing. The last significant one for me, and you can tell by looking at the front of this magazine, must have something to do with gasoline. This magazine, the only place you can buy it, Barnes & Noble, $5.95, September 2008, so exactly 3 years ago. We were selling a gasoline pill, a multivitamin for your gas tank. When you're on empty, you put this pill about that big in the gas tank, fill up and drive. Now that one was hard, my friend. You can go to your brother-in-law that just bought a brand new $100,000 Mercedes and try to talk him into dropping this pill in the gas tank. The first question he's got is, "You're going to blow up my car?" After you get through that one, he pulls out the owner's manual, and right there on the first page, you put anything in that gas tank. Called an additive that did not come from Mercedes, that voids your warranty. So I'm going to say it again, that one was pretty hard. But me and a partner of mine spent $250 to get involved in that one. $250. Are you getting it? $250? Here's how much $250 is to a bunch of my, I don't know whether to call them friends, buddies, or what, but I mean, I got a couple of guys that'll get together and drink $250 worth of beer every weekend. That's with nothing to show Monday for it except a headache, you understand? That's how much $250 is. So $250 to start that home-based business, paid $5 million back in the next 3 years. All you got to do to get your story on the bookshelf at Barnes & Noble is turn $250 into $5 million, and people go into Barnes & Noble, pay $5.95 to hear this kind of story. But here's the thing about it. This can be your story, everybody's story in this room. Let me tell you why I am with the company that Antoine just showed you. 100% pay plan. All the product is to make your pay plan legal. You with me?
Yes.
Whether it's a gasoline pill or whether it's electricity. But you know what I discovered real quick about the electricity thing? Nobody's asked me yet, is your electricity going to blow up my house? Electricity is electricity. And everybody believes they have to have it. Now, you don't. I did not have electricity or running water until I was 16 years old. So you don't have to have it. But all of y'all think you got to have it. But I'm going to say it again, just call this one a checkup from the neck up. I'm going to show you how you're messing up really, 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 really bad if you don't go out here and make yourself $1 million with this opportunity that Antoine just showed you. So believe is where we start. Unbelief is your greatest enemy. You were born in an image of an awesome and great almighty God, and God believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Once you get this, you'll be talking to more people. Now, you know the only thing it takes to make a quick million in network marketing? Let me read that one again. Once you really get that one, you'll talk to more people, and all it takes is 3 things to create wealth in network marketing. Talk to people, talk to people. Anybody want to guess what number 3 is? Talk to more people. If you're not making money with what Antoine just showed you, there's only one reason. You haven't talked to enough people. You're stronger than you think. You can still surprise yourself, believe it or not. You were meant for greater things than just paying the bills. Did you know America right now is settling for just paying the bills? Richest nation in the history of the world. And 98% of the population of the United States of America is real happy right now with just paying the bills. I'm a strange guy. But let me be rich or let me be broke. But don't let me settle for mediocrity. That's a good one for you to think about around 2 or 3 a.m. I mean, how many of you really, really, really believe you're put here for more than just paying the bills? And dream big because your dreams are worth it. Urgency. Work your business like you're in a hurry to be done. Guys, I'm 73 years old. Married to a pretty young. Stand up, honey. God is good. Y'all look at this. I'm in a hurry to be done. Anybody want to be in a hurry to be done with me? I want to take this girl, go to the beach, do you understand? And tell Andy McWilliams where to wire my check to, which beach to wire my check to every week. So quit working your business like you got 1,000 years to live, and if you're not making any money and you've been doing this for 90 days, you need to get that one, guys. Quit working your business like you got 1,000 years to live, because that is the way you've been working your business if you're not making any money. Work your business like you got 90 days to make all the money you're ever going to need. Now, you know what you do in 90 days? You take a couple of days off, and you start over like it's day one in the business. You work your business like you got 90 days to live. Work your business like you got 90 days to make all the money you're ever going to want to make. Then you take a couple of days off. You know what? Then you start over like it's day one in the business. Work your business like you got 90 days to make all the money you're ever going to want or need. Commitment. Work your $299 business like you paid $1 million for it. And you'll work it with more commitment than you have shown so far. I get started tough, guys. And I'm not apologizing for it. Work your $299 business like you paid $1 million for it. I had somebody tell me one time, well, I mean, I just don't have that, I cannot imagine paying $1 million for a business. Well, get your imagination working a little bit better. I owned a $1 million business. I'm going to talk about that one here in a little bit. I went to work whether I felt like it or not. I went to work if it was raining. I went to work if it was snowing. I went to work if it was tornado warnings. Exactly like every one of you do if you have a J-O-B. That's never going to make you wealthy, never going to make you rich. Stands no chance of it. Does it amaze you that you'll work harder for somebody else than you will for yourself? Does it amaze you that you would rather build somebody else's dream than to build your own? That's the difference between network marketing and net wish marketing. It does take work. And sometimes it seems pretty hard, guys. Let me tell you something. It's not as hard as somebody telling you what time set the alarm clock, what time get up, what time leave house, what time show up, what time drink coffee, what time be back drink coffee, what time eat lunch, what time be back eat lunch, what time drink coffee, what time be back drink coffee, what time go. It's not that hard. Everybody wants to win the Super Bowl, but nobody wants to run 100 wind sprints a day. Now, everything so far comes down to one word: diligence. Webster's Dictionary for diligence: hardworking, industrious, steady effort, constant effort, speed, haste, and painstaking. The painstaking. I'm going to say it again. There's days this is going to seem really hard. Well, if it's hard, you do it hard. Opposite of diligence is knowing what you should be doing to build your business and choosing not to do it. Some of this stuff pretty funny, huh? Wake up and stop procrastinating. 80% of Americans are overweight. Nearly every one of them think they'll start losing weight next week. Don't work your business like this. There's a guy named Solomon that lived, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. Supposed to be the wisest man ever lived, richest man ever lived. So if you can't learn something from the wisest man ever lived and the richest man ever lived, you may be destined to stay broke. But Solomon said, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. And then another proverb he wrote, do you see a man diligent in his business? He will stand before kings. With diligence, you will have control of your situation instead of your situation controlling you. We're going to give a name to the training I'm about to give you. We're going to call it No Excuses. Every one of you that's been doing this a couple of months and you're not making any money, you have some really good excuses. Well, I promise you I'm going to take them away from you. I don't care how bad you want to hold on to them, how much you like them. I promise I'm going to take them away from you. How would you like to be in control of your circumstances instead of the circumstances controlling you? Everybody deals with circumstances. Right. But you believe yours is unique to everybody else's. Everybody has a cross to bear. And if everybody in this room threw yours, you hate it, it's unbearable, can't have it no more, throw it out here in the middle of the room. You tell me about yours, I'll tell you about mine, which I'm about to do. Guess what? You'll be running back into the pile, hunting for your cross to pick it up and keep on carrying it. Without diligence, your life will be filled with desires instead of fulfillment. Now you take everything I've talked about so far, and it comes down to a word called passion. 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 I may use some crude illustrations, but you can't say, you may not like them, but you can't say you didn't understand them. You remember your wedding night? Huh? That's spelled passion. Can you put that kind of passion into making money. But my definition for passion is its attitude. Ever how passionate you are about something, that's your attitude about that particular element in your life. Charles Swindoll wrote this one years ago. I think every network marketing company probably had somebody in front of the room reading this one. We've all heard it all of our life. Your altitude determined by your attitude. But the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me more important than facts, more important than the past. Education, money, circumstances, failure, successes, than what other people think or say or do. More important than appearance, giftedness, or skill will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing we have is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one thing we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me, 90% how I react to it. So it is with you. We're in charge of our attitude. I've used that for years, from the network marketing stage, because I've lived it. And I found out recently, it's not true. If you take the word attitude, write it out on a piece of paper. A is the first letter of the alphabet. Count down to T, that's the 20th letter of the alphabet. Add it all up, it's 100. That's God saying it's 100% attitude, my friend. Not 90%, 100% attitude. So if attitudes are contagious, is yours worth catching? The problem with success is we want it yesterday. Me and you both. I want it yesterday. In America, it's instant coffee, instant tea, and instant success. Listen to me, guys. It's not a 100-yard dash, it's a marathon, and every one of us, myself, Peter, and all of us just begun. I mean, 10 years from now, this one has just begun. People are never going to turn off the lights. You have to change the way you're thinking, because the way you're thinking is not working. I'm talking to those of you again that's been working at just a couple of months and hadn't made no money. The way you're thinking is not working, and the only thing you got to change, my friend, is the way you are thinking. So a good question, ask yourself, what do I want out of life? What am I willing to do to get it? If you risk nothing, do nothing, you will have nothing and amount to nothing. Let me tell you the biggest risk there is here for you. Certainly not the $299.
Right.
You know what the biggest risk for you is? What you're afraid your friends are going to think about you if you call them and pitch them on network marketing. Well, get over it. If you're about to lose your car and your house, there's not one of them going to be showing up to make the payment for you.
Right.
So quit worrying about what they think about you. If you want to earn yourself a living, get yourself a job. Business is not meant to create a living, it's meant to create wealth. If you're going to work hard anyway, you might as well get rich. People will work for 4 years for free to graduate and make $40,000 a year teaching school. I'm not using the word work here. You talk to any college student that's been in there for 3 years. Every one of them uses the word work. I am working on my master's. I am working on that. I am working on that. So you'll work for 4 years for free. To get that diploma and put on the wall that says you're worth $40,000, $50,000 a year. And then have a tendency to run from anybody that comes along after you got that degree on the wall. Run from them if they come along and talk about making $40,000 a month, and really run from them if they're talking about making $50,000 a week, right? It's no secret why 98% of the people in America are either settling for mediocrity or they're broke. But, I mean, real life, in the richest nation in the history of the world, you know how it goes. Get a good education, get a good job with a good company, hang in there, maybe it's what, 40 hours a week for 40 years you last, so you can reach age 65, retire, now try to live on half of what you couldn't live on when you had the whole thing. So would you work for free for 4 months at something that might just accidentally pay you $40,000 a month? We got distributors making more in a week. Can barely speak English, I'm talking about. We got distributors making more in a week, quite a bit more in a week than the average American makes in a year. And we opened and started this officially the 9th of September. October, November, 2 months. So if you've been working at it 2 months, you hadn't made no money yet, I'm going to read that one to you again. Would you work 2 more months at something that might pay you $40,000 a month or $40,000 a week? If it's doing it for other people and it's doing it for several of them, you can't question whether this works. The only thing you can question is, are you going to work it different from the way you've been working it? It's not a state of affairs, it's not a state of events, it's a state of mind. I did a tape over 20 years ago, sold over 1 million of them, so I guess somebody liked it. But anyway, the name of it's Can You Hit a Curveball? Because life is going to throw you an occasional curveball. Antoine addresses this really, really, really good every time he does the opportunity meeting. Life, my friend, is going to throw you an occasional curveball, and if you've not had one yet, it's coming. Brace yourself. It's called real life in a real world. But let me tell you something. If you're going to play in the big league, if you're going to play in the major league, you're going to have to be able to hit a curveball. It's not how many times you fall, it's do you have what it takes to get up one more time. You know who I'm talking to there? There's networkers in this room that you swore off of networking already. For some reason, somebody got you in here today. Like, you've tried and failed, you've tried and failed. It's not whether you have the talent, my friend. It's do you have what it takes to get up and do it one more time. You just picked the wrong companies. All it takes is pick the right company, the right week, the right month, of the right year, and engage. Everyone deals with negatives. It's not what's going on in your life, but it's how you react to what's going on in your life. Don't get distracted with the negatives. It's called the seasons of life. The yellow brick road. Antoine talks about the seasons of life.
Right.
Everybody has their seasons of life. You know what the good news is? If you don't like the season you're in, seasons change.
Right.
See, but you can't rip January off the calendar and make it go away. You got to make it through that season. You don't like to get into the season you do like. And it's going to be your passion for this industry. Not passion for Momentis. Not passion for like that. It's going to come down. It's your passion for this industry that's created more new millionaires than any industry in the history of the world. It's your passion for the industry that's got to carry you, guys. Everybody. Zig Ziglar has a bad day. He just says, don't let too awfully many of them run back to back. We're all going to have a bad day in Momentis. But if you are sold on this industry that's created more new millionaires than any industry in the history of the world, you're not going to let it distract you from keeping on doing what you know creates more new millionaires than any industry in the history of the world. In the beginning, from the best I can tell, when God set this thing up, He never figured out how to make a front without a back, an up without a down, a positive without a negative. And back again, it's called the seasons of life. Good news is seasons change. Everybody deals with negatives, my friend. Quit thinking yours is any different from everybody else's in the room. J.C. Penney was 50 years old, bankrupt, in a mental hospital.
Wow.
Mental hospital. Insane asylum. Do you hear me? He was 50 years old, bankrupt. Now, I agree. I've been as close to needing the insane asylum as anybody you'll ever meet. But I'm going to share my life with you here. I owned a company called Stereo Dallas, corner Preston Road, LBJ. Everybody that's ever been in my opportunity meeting has heard me talk about that. Well, you know who Paul Harvey, anybody remember Paul Harvey? Well, here's the rest of the story. Very, very, very successful business. $1 million worth of inventory on the floor, 40 employees, 90 hours a week, run millions of dollars through the bank, da-da-da-da-da. Car stereos, home stereos. I mean, we owned Dallas, in my opinion, when it came to car stereo. We owned the world. We built the loudest car stereos in the world. When I say loud, I'm talking about my cars was on display in Las Vegas every January, called the Consumer Electronics Show. I said loud. We blowed out sunroofs, busted out windshields with car stereo. I'm talking about we could give you we could make your ears bleed, make your nose bleed, give you a headache for a month with car stereos. And along comes on the front cover of Newsweek and Business Week this flying saucer, that 10-foot satellite dish. Anybody in here ever buy one of them? $5,000. You know, and there was, the media was saying this is the industry of the future, and it was for a short while. Now the 18-inch dish does more than my 10-foot one did, but it was better than they said. We sold them faster than we could put them in. I already had my overhead, all I had to do is run one little bitty ad, and I'll say it again, it was better than they said it was. Became the #1 retailer in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex of that 10-foot dish. We was doing our part to make that 10-foot dish the state flower of Texas. I'm serious. There was people with $5,000 trailer houses, you hear me? Putting a $5,000 dish out in the front yard. The difference was the guy with the trailer house put it in the front yard. You know, the guy with the mansion, he hid it around in the backyard. But HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, those guys are too big to lay down and roll over. They did not appreciate me selling their cable customer a $5,000 dish. He could use that cable bill to make the payment, get it paid off, steal all the HBO he wanted for free. You with me? So HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, they spent the millions on the lobbyist groups until they got Congress to vote in a new law allowing them to scramble their signal. I'll never forget it. It happened on November the 1st. I sold 80 dishes, if you want to do the math on that one. 80 dishes in October, 0 in November. Because the newsman put his nose in the middle of my business on November the 1st at 6 o'clock, again at 10 o'clock, saying, ha, 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 all you people with them $5,000 dishes throwed away your money. Well, needless to say, that's not good for my business since I had a warehouse full of them. I was out of business in one day. But I'm slow. It took me 13 months to figure it out when I go to work one morning and the banker had beat me there. And there was the biggest locks and chains around my doors you've ever seen in your life. Well, in Texas, you call that a clue, you are out of business. Lost my mention on the Hill, had 5 new cars repossessed, and lawsuits out the gazoo over that $1 million business. You know, getting back to the car stereos, we would put airplane alternators on them, 10 batteries, and when we got done, everything, we'd get in the car from the driver's head to the back bumper. Come in with plywood, you know, build a box. When we're done, there's a 15-inch woofer right behind the driver's head, a 15-inch woofer right behind the passenger's head. We wanted the passenger to be able to hear this music too. And these stereos would pull so much power. You drive this car down the road at night, the beat of the bass would make your headlights go completely off and on as you're driving down the highway. And my personal car was a brand new red Corvette with this, well, $15,000 stereos is what it was. And we stayed busy installing $15,000 stereos. Preston and LBJ, we caught all of the University Park, Highland Park kids that hit 16 years old. That the first thing they want is it was either a new Trans Am or a new Camaro. Daddy would write a check for $15,000 for the Trans Am, then pick it up at the dealership, bring it straight to me, let me have it for 2 weeks, and write me a check for $15,000 for the car stereo. So I mean, life is good. Are you with me? We're talking about those seasons of life. Life is good. Until I go from 80 dishes in one month to 0 the next. All of the cars are gone, first of all, except my Corvette. Well, if they've already repossessed 4 of them, and you 3 payments past due on the Corvette that don't take much to figure out, they come in to get the Corvette pretty quick. So I'm proud of my Corvette. I mean, I don't want to lose it. So I got sense enough to know I can't park it at my house. I start parking it over at a buddy's house so they can't get it, but they got it anyway. I didn't know his past due on his. I was looking for his. So now my Corvette's gone. And I'm left with what used to be my fishing car. I'm talking about several colors of faded out blue. You pull this car in, I'm not making none of this stuff. You pull this car into the station, you filled it with oil and checked the gas. It killed every mosquito within 100 yards when you fired it up. You could look through the floorboard going down the highway, see the road passing underneath you. Now this is what I'm left with. And to help you get the impact of the message I'm trying to get across here, guys. I married a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. A very high-maintenance blonde Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Now, so I know the definition of looking pretty good. You with me? Yeah. So Christmas week. It's important you remember Christmas week. Christmas week. The 18-wheeler pulls into my front yard, backs in, loads up the furniture. All the neighbors watch as these high rollers move out of the neighborhood. Lost our mention on the hill. 5 new cars. You with me? And moved into a trailer house on a dirt road, on a blacktop road within miles, in DeKalb, Texas. If anybody's ever heard of DeKalb, Texas. I'm talking about DeKalb's got 900 people, one little blinking red light. Well, that trailer house was 10 miles out in the woods from downtown DeKalb. So the best thing I could come up with to tell my friends that year, we're getting a new trailer house for Christmas. And it did not take me long to figure out my wife is not going to do trailer houses well at all. All of our furniture's loaded. She hates this car. But all the rest of them are gone. I mean, it's walk or get in the car. So the furniture's loaded. I'm ready to leave this 18-wheeler to the trailer house on dirt road, not a blacktop road within miles. I can't find my wife. I go back in the house looking for her. You know where she was at? She was standing in the middle of this big empty living room. You know what she was doing? She was crying. Her attitude wasn't too good. Well, mine was no better, but I couldn't afford to join in on her crying. We'd still be sitting somewhere on a trailer house on a dirt road, not a blacktop road within a mile, crying. You with me? I spent enough money on Zig Ziglar to know what you're supposed to do when your wife's standing in the middle of a big empty living room crying. I go over and put my arm around her. I said, don't worry about a thing, baby, you still got me. There is a fine line between positive thinking and stupidity. I didn't work on that particular day. The girl started crying louder. As I'm saying, look, you know me, give me a couple of years, I'll have you in a bigger house than I'll pay cash for it. I told her that several times in the next 6 months. She believed me less every time I told her. So we're in this trailer house. You know the only difference between a $400 a month trailer payment and a $4,000 a month house payment? You know the only difference? There is none if you don't have the $400. They come get them trailer houses too. Except it's just an easier job. They're already sitting on the wheel. and so 6 months in that trailer house, I'm 3 payments past on my trailer house. Wow. Here's a guy I've been running millions of dollars through the bank, high rolling, looking good, and now I can't find $400. Lawsuits, chasing me out the gazoo, on top of all of the other situations. And 2 really good friends of mine, some of you will recognize their names, Dennis Windsor, David Savage. They're calling me, wanting me to come look at one of them network marketing things. I started off being pretty polite, like saying, don't y'all know who I am? I'm a businessman. And I'm not doing one of them Amway things. But they were persistent. They'd call back, lose my number, throw it away, quit calling me. I'm not a prospect, not a suspect, not a candidate. For nothing you guys got, they call back, look, wouldn't do me no good to look at it if I like what I say. Ain't nobody out here in these woods to talk to, and ain't nobody in Dallas going to talk to me because they know I'm living in a trailer house on a dirt road, not a blacktop road within miles. And I don't know if y'all have figured this one out. Life, stress is the #1 killer of the human race. Stress brings on the cancer. Stress brings on the heart attack. Stress brings on whatever it is. You with me? Yeah. Well, I'm stressed out. You understand? I've had the mansion on the hill, all the fancy new cars. Now, 3 payments passed on a trailer house, and these idiots just want me to do something called multi-level. And I become very ill. I came down with a disease that back then medical science had not even figured out a name for it. Today they've named it. It's the ITC disease. But I came down very, very, very ill with the ITC disease before medical science had given it a name. And the postman gets out of the car, walks up through the field to the trailer house. You don't want the letter, do you understand? Because you have to sign for it. Well, was my banker telling me he's coming to get that trailer house? And I'm reading that letter, and I'm looking at that blind, and I'm saying, you know what? I have enough trouble moving this girl into a trailer house. Y'all think I'm making this up. This is a true story if I ever told one in my life. I'm looking at this girl said to myself, I have enough trouble moving this girl into a trailer house. I've got my hands full trying to move her into a tent. And the phone rings again, and it's my 2 buddies want me to come to the network marketing thing. And I was instantly healed of my ITC disease. Yeah. instantly healed. Oh, I forgot to tell you, ITC disease, I'm too cool to do one of them network marketing things. I was instantly healed. I said, what does that mean? I got in an old car. I didn't know if it would get me to Dallas, 150 miles. Didn't know if it would get me to Dallas. If I got to Dallas, didn't know if it would get me home. If I got home, did not know if my house would be there. There's not a one of you that went to your first network marketing meeting really worried about whether your house would be there when you got back. Well, that's the way I went to my meeting. Broke and negative. They put me on the front row, and I'm sitting there with my eyes crossed, my legs crossed, my arms crossed, and I'm saying, you know, let me out of here just so I can go ahead, I guess, go back home and keep on being broke. But you know how the opportunity meeting, I don't care how negative you came in. If you're a first-time guest, by the time Antoine got done, he had sort of spun your head around and you're saying, wow, this sounded pretty good. So anyway, before they were done, first of all, Dennis Windsor was in front of the room. Now, you got to know Dennis, but he had just got his first check for $10,000 for the month. And I'm looking at him, a buddy of mine, and I'm saying, if that guy can make $10,000 doing anything, I ought to be able to get rich with it. So anyway, I'll leave there fired up, pumped up, but they was holding up a water filter. A piece of PVC pipe that big around, that long, filled with gooey, nasty, granular activated carbon, a cap glued on this end to hold it in, one glued on this end to hold it in, a hole on this end for the water to go in, a hole on this end for the water to come out. So Dennis up there holding up this thing from the front of the room, saying, it's going to make us wealthy. It takes chlorine out of the water. And I'm saying to myself, pal, there ain't no chlorine within 100 miles of that trailer house. Anybody living out there in them woods, they got a well in the backyard or they're drinking out of the creek. But I'll say it again, by the time they're done, he's got me fired up, pumped up. I'm getting in an old car and I'm heading back to the trailer house. My wife's waiting up. She said, well, what did you say? I said, baby, we are back. Now, how many of you was ever involved in NSA? I met Peter in NSA. Okay, $5,000 to get in that Mississippi. Wow. That was if you had a single car garage. Our pay plan was, do you want to be garage qualified? If you had a single car garage, it was $5,000 and 40 water filters. If you had a double car garage, it was $25,000 and 200 water filters. You with me? So anyway, I'm telling her, I said, we're back. I said, I found it, but it's going to cost us $5,000 to find out. True story, if I ever told it in my life. She said, where do you think you're going to get $5,000? I said, can I please have your wedding rings?
Wow.
She gave them to me. The next day, it was in that old car again, back into Dallas on I-30. You know where State Fair is? Well, you turn right on East Grand Avenue, it's that first pawn shop on the left. I went home that day. My wife didn't have no wedding rings, but I had $5,000. No, I mean, I made that one up. She didn't leave till after I made millions. But listen to me. This changed my life fast. I mean, really, really, really changed my life. I mean, there's so many BS stories attached to network marketing. I'm not going to tell you anything I can't document, okay? But got the biggest first month's check that company had ever written, and that was the story in those days for network marketing. The money story. Got the biggest first month check they'd ever written, $41,200. We can talk about what we made years ago. We just get up here and talk about what we made last week with this one. They call that enticing the derelicts. If you're a first-time guest here today, somebody's calling you a derelict. And they're protecting you from me. See, telling you how much I made last week. Well, this was years ago. Well, that'll get you out of the woods in a hurry. The owner of that company had his secretary call me, send me an airline ticket. They wanted me and my wife to fly into Memphis, Tennessee. They wanted to see who these new superstars are. They didn't know I was living in a trailer house on a dirt road, about a blacktop road within a mile, 3 paper passed on a trailer house, driving that embarrassing little car I'm driving. You with me? And we fly into Memphis. They hand me that check. I opened it and looked at it and just about passed out. Had no earthly idea. But you know, the first thought entered my mind, what am I going to do with them? The lawsuits I've got chasing me, I can't go home and put it in the bank. They're standing in line waiting for it. You know what I mean? This was November the 2nd. Halloween was 3 days ago. You with me? So I'm looking at that check for $41,000, and I'm saying, where's your bank? Would you call me a cab and tell him to take me to your bank? I walked into the bank with this $41,200. The little lady said, can I help you? I put it out there. I said, yes, ma'am, cash it. She looked at it, she looked at me, looked at it, looked at me. It seemed like for 5 minutes. I said, oh, no, they already know who I am. But finally she says, excuse me just a minute. And she leaves. Now I'm really getting nervous. And she's gone 5 minutes. She comes back out. She said, Mr. Shaw? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, how did you want that? I said, hundreds will be fine. She said, I was afraid you was going to say that because we don't have that many hundreds. She said, if you don't mind waiting 30 minutes, we'll send a Brinks truck across town to our sister bank, get the money. I said, I'll wait. Now, by every teller was some heavy-duty, bright orange plastic bags this big. Pumpkin on one side and witch on a broom on the other. They overbought for Halloween. You hear me? So 30 minutes later, she's coming out with this box full of $100 bills. Mr. Shaw, yes, ma'am. What do you want me to do with this? I picked up one of them big orange sacks. I said, fill her up, please. That was my beginnings. You hear me? Into what's led to making millions of me, getting very rich, losing it all, getting very rich again, losing it all, getting very rich again, losing it all. All I know how to do is make it. But starting now, I started listening to Peter Hirsch on how to keep it. My last adventure was ostriches and emus. How many was pitched on that one? Pay $50,000 for a bird if she can lay an egg. But people are buying them 1,000 an egg as soon as she can drop it on the ground. And a good hen, I mean, can lay 50 eggs in a summer, so $50,000 for a bird. Get your money back.
Wow.
And I studied that thing for 3 years, saying there's got to be something wrong here. And I'm not an analytical person. It's the only time I've ever been analytical in my life. And what closed me was Paul Meyer, Waco, Texas, SMI, Success Motivation Institute. He had a ranch with over 2,000 of them on it. So I got 2 speeds, wide open or stop. So I bought a thoroughbred ranch in Rockwall and filled it up with over 100 birds, if you want to do the math on that one. $50,000 for a bird. Well, I had 30-something emus I'm talking about, but the only thing an emu was for, those of you that was around that. The only thing an emu was for the guy that didn't have 50,000 for an ostrich. So I pay 50,000 for a bird that can lay eggs. I feed them for 3 years, sold them for 1,000. It's all timing and timing and timing. They opened the first slaughterhouse, and you can't eat a $50,000 bird, so they bring the price down to 500. You with me? So it don't take long to lose millions, is all I'm saying. And this is the first honor I've ever had in my life, president, CEO, maybe I should say, that gets in front of the room and says, not how much you make, it's how much you keep. See, because I was always taught, window dressing. So anyway, so now I've lost millions on that one. Well, I've got a thoroughbred ranch, good looking one. I thought, well, only makes good sense to get in the racehorse business. So I go from ostriches to racehorses, go ahead and lose the rest of it, you will? But listen to me, guys. Here's the point that you need to get from all of this. 3 years later, exactly. Well, let me back off on that slide. It does not matter where you're at today financially. What are you willing to do to get there? It don't matter where you're at today financially. Where do you want to be 2 or 3 years from now? Here's a guy living in a trail house on dirt road, not a blacktop road within miles. Lawsuits out the gazoo. 3 payments passed on a trailer house. Exactly. Well, first of all, let me say that. Remember me saying Christmas week, we're moving out of the mansion on the hill into the trailer house? Christmas week, exactly 1 year later, I'm going from the trailer house back to Dallas. Christmas week to Christmas week. Sometimes you got to believe God has a sense of humor. Christmas week, exactly 1 year later, Christmas week, I'm moving out of the trailer house, back to Dallas, into a bigger house than that one I moved out of a year earlier, driving a brand new, big gold Mercedes, and my wife got a bigger diamond than that one I put in the pawn shop. I'm going to say it again. Your circumstances don't count. Your excuses don't count. Get rid of the excuses. Well, exactly 2 years later, I have a $3 million year in 1 year. How do you go from 3 payments passed on a trailer house, lawsuits out the gazoo, to 3 years later, they're writing about you on the front page of the Sunday business section for writing the government a check for $1.42 billion in cash. Now that is not my picture. Little Rock Thrift sells Texas housing project. This was the savings and loan crisis that Texas went through. Insolvent Savers Savings Association continues to sell its assets under supervision. Federal regulators sold the Austin, Texas housing project for $1.42 million in cash. Officials confirmed Tuesday. The Little Rock Savings and Loan sold a project known as the West Fourplex Homes, which consisted of 31 fourplexes. According to Grady Walquist, the Savers vice president, manager of its foreclosed real estate division, Walquist declined to identify the buyer. He referred questions to Austin real estate broker Pepper Johnson Johnson, who represented the buyer, said the buyer was Earl Shaw, who sells water filters for a living. My point is, it don't matter where you are at right now, guys. You can turn it around like that. You know, some of my semi-intelligent friends, I call them up, and you know, they say, after I'm 2 minutes into it, sounds like one of them get-rich-quick things to me, Earl Shaw. You know what I tell them? I don't know, pal, but I sure hope so. You know, I tried getting rich slow for 40 years. That didn't work out. I hope it's a get rich quick. Do you realize how much money you got to earn to have a new house, new Mercedes, new diamond, pay income taxes, and have 1.42 million cash left hanging around? That's what happens when network marketing works. I believe I could be with any company out there. Antoine could be with any company. Peter could be with any company. Why am I with this one? Real simple. The pay plan. Already created more new millionaires than the world's ever seen. Nobody comes close. A company called Excel Telecommunications made this pay plan famous. Then Ignite copies it. Then Ambient copies it. Well, guess what? Our president and CEO has taken that same pay plan that created 6,000 new millionaires for Excel. This is Excel's on steroids. This is Ambient's on steroids. This is Ignite's on steroids. Did you ever want to be in the right place at the right time to make yourself some money? So get rid of the excuses. I'll say it again, don't matter where you're at financially right now. Where do you want to be 2 years from now? And what are you willing to do to get there? Are you willing to call your friends and then puke on them? You know, like, can't believe you'd get in one of them pyramid deals. Y'all know what I'm saying. That's the only risk you got here. You can't call $299 a risk. The only risk is what your friend's going to think about you. NSA did their part of rewriting history. 3 years in a row. Congratulations, Inc. Magazine. Congratulations on your third consecutive appearance, one of only 4 companies in the United States of America, one of only 4 companies to rank among the top 25 in 1990, 1991. We sold enough water filters in 1990 that you could lay a pipeline of PVC this big around from Miami to Seattle. That's a lot of water filters, my friend. But here's the way we did it. Getting in front of the room and holding up this water filter. Here was the pitch. Here was the presentation. We don't have the best water filter. We don't have the cheapest water filter. But we sell more water filters than everybody in the world added together. Did you ever want to make some money? Now, first I must tell you, I'm not making none of this up. First I must tell you, it's $120 and you've got to have 40 of them. $5,000 worth. So first I got to tell you, we don't have the best water filter, don't have the cheapest water filter again, but we sell more than everybody in the world. As a matter of fact, you go to Walmart and buy this water filter or Sam's for $60. But if you get this one, it's $120. Now, y'all think am I making none of this up? You can go to Walmart and buy it for $60, or you can buy 40 of them from me at $120 a piece. Now here's the difference. You go to Walmart and buy it for $60. Send your friend in to buy one, Walmart ain't going to send you a check. That's the only difference. This was our presentation, guys. And rewrote history there for a 3-year period. Now you know the only reason I'm telling that story is for those of you that think you got to sell electricity rates. That's right. My question to you is, if ours was 20 cents and everybody else's is 10 cents, would you still be interested?
Yes.
If TXU in Reliant was 10 cents a kilowatt, ours was 20. Are you getting this? Would you be in this meeting?
Yes.
No way. People did not care if they could go buy this water filter for half the price. They didn't care. They wanted to make some money. And this is a fine oil machine that's working here that was making money. You understand? Antoine says it well. Tim Sparkman says it well. The business we're in here, you sell rates, you live by rates, you'll die by rates. Go to your mama and your daddy, your sister, your brother, ask for a favor, get you a few customer points. But when it comes to the opportunity, for the entrepreneur, they don't care what the rates are. It's how much money is somebody already making. Let me tell you something. This company has written the biggest checks, opened officially September the 9th, already written the biggest checks in the United States of America, faster than ever written in the history of the world that I know of. But if I can hold up a water filter and tell an audience, and we was running 700 and 800 people in weekly meetings, hold up a water filter and say you go back for half price, but you can't make no money. An entrepreneur wants to be a part of something that's working real well. And getting back to our competition, Ignite and Ambit, I am told, and they did all their business, broke every record in the history of the world, did it in Texas. Our first month of talking electricity, out-recruited both of them in the state of Texas. First month.
Right.
You know why? The pay plan. Electricity is electricity. You know why? The pay plan. We created 500 new millionaires in 3 years with them water filters. Did not have the best one, didn't have the cheapest one, but sold more than everybody else in the world added together. And I'll say it again, this was only for those of you that think you have to sell electricity rates. When you live by rates, you die by rates. I got 4 different trainings. The next one is a whole lot more potent than this one. And me, Peter, Antoine, Tim, some of us, when we were rotating here, I'm doing Saturday training. So if you want to see my training number 2, I'll be doing it again in 1 month. All I've done today, guys, is try to take away your excuses. You can make money or you can make excuses, but you can't do both. And the people making excuses not going to make any money. Get rid of the excuses. And if you don't get anything else from me today, don't matter where you're at today, where do you want to be in a couple of years? And all it takes is right company, right week, right month, right year, and engage. And I'm going to close with this one. A company that officially kicked off, I've said it 10 times, you got to get this, it officially kicked off the night of September to Gaylord Hotel, 1,100 people, has written the biggest checks since then ever written this early by any network marketing company in history. Now, what else do you need to know? And Antoine says it well. All you got to do is invite somebody to a meeting, sit there beside of him, and look how hard you're having to work. and come here. This is my sponsor, him and Wes, I should say. Wes is the better half of the good-looking girl that talked earlier. But I met Peter in that water filter business. He's the only networker ever written up on the front page of the Wall Street Journal in a positive article. Professionals, because of wealth and independence. Anyway, the story starts off Peter L. Hurst, 23 years old, it said.